Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your overview for the year ahead. In this overview, I will be discussing some of the major transits that I think are really important this year. Of course, there are several others, but I could not talk about all of them, but these are just the ones that I think will really help you navigate the year ahead. This video is for all Sagittarius rising, sun, and moon. Of course, the rising sign is always the strongest. The sun sign is the second strongest, and then some people do resonate with their moon signs, although I have heard that it's a more internal experience than external. I also recommend anyone with a lot of planets in Sagittarius in your chart, or like a ninth house stellium. So like a stellium in Sagittarius or a stellium in the ninth house, to watch this, because you may also resonate with some of the themes I'm going to discuss. The first transit I want to talk about is the Venus retrograde in Capricorn. This has been an ongoing theme. December 19th, Venus went retrograde. She remains in retrograde to this day, the day that I'm recording, and she will go direct January 29th. This is in your second house. So once she goes direct, she stays in your second house until March 6th. So Venus is all about love, money, our values, finance, beauty, aesthetics. And the second house is all about our resources. So it's the money that we earn from our income. It's also values in terms of, our material possessions. It's our, our values in relation to how we earn money. And it's also like the self-worth house. So it's like net worth and self-worth. So Venus retrograde here, this has been something that you've been dealing with. So there's several ways that this could be manifesting. You may realize that you're not overly satisfied with what you're earning from your income at this time. You might be reevaluating your worth and realizing that you want to bring in more, that you are worthy of more. This is regarding your physical resources as well as financial resources. So like your material possessions, like maybe you were someone who didn't really want to own a home, and now you're like, you know what, I do value that. That's something I want. Or, maybe you want to purchase an item of value, like a vehicle or a timeshare or a boat or something. So you're reevaluating your money and your values. What do you really want, and how can you obtain it, are some questions that you might be asking yourself. You might just realize that what you have does not equate to who you are. But keep in mind that your self-worth does not come from the things that you own or how much you earn. For some, there might be a decrease over this time in your income, maybe some money issues. For others, there could be an increase, and it most likely would be due to like an old revenue stream coming back. Or like an old opportunity coming back your way to bring in more money, something like that. But, this is all about reassessing your values, your money, your budget, and your sustainability practices. Is how you're living sustainable. Maybe, like I said, you're someone who wants more assets. Maybe you want to live, more simply. Like some people might realize, you know what, I don't value all this stuff anymore, and I want to declutter. Some people might realize they want more luxury. Venus retrograde is going to help sort this out. So if these are some things that have come up, just let it come up and just let it sit, let it kind of sink in, and you're going to have more clarity once Venus goes direct. For some people who have debt, this might be the focus. You might be really focused on paying off that debt, or that debt is really impacting your self-worth. So in that sense, it's a really good idea to reassess your self-esteem in relationship to money. A lot of us feel like worthy, like we feel worthier when we're earning more, and then we feel really low in confidence when we're not. Money is very tied into our self-esteem. I mean, it shouldn't be, but it often is. So it might be helpful to ask yourself, what are your beliefs around earning money? Some people might have the belief that, you have to work really hard to make anything, right? If you don't work hard, you're not going to bring in income. or you can't do what you love to earn an income. There's no way. And let me tell you, people are making money in the most unusual, innovative ways these days. I want to say that you can bring in an income practically doing anything these days. So uncover some of these money beliefs. Even working with like a therapist or a financial advisor could be really helpful. Other ways to use this energy is to research topics about money. So learn about financial management, financial security, get that financial advice on, maximizing your savings, for example, paying off debt. It's not a good time to be spending, as there probably would be consequences. Venus retrograde is never a good idea to spend a lot of money, period, but especially when it's in your second house. If it's low stakes or you can afford to lose the money, then, go for it. Or if you're getting like a ridiculously good deal on something, like someone is selling like a home that's worth like 500,000 and you can get it for like half that or something, like it's someone who's just being generous or something like that, might be okay. But I would still be very careful and maybe seek out an astrologer to look at your chart prior to that decision. But just, save and be smart. Because, and I want to say that's going to be harder to do, to save and be smart, because Venus is going to make you want more material things. So again, just put yourself on a budget, but know that whatever you purchase, especially if it's beauty related, like makeup or clothes, that you may not really like it after Venus goes direct, and it could be for a number of reasons. It could be because you just don't like it. It could be because your weight fluctuates. It could be because you move into a part of the world where you don't need winter clothes. Like, it could be anything. So just keep that in mind. Overall, by the time this transit is done and then goes direct and then leaves March 6th, you're going to have a better idea on, what you value, have clearer money goals, and, be able to bring in resources in a more sustainable fashion, and ultimately feel more secure. Jupiter in Pisces. So that is the next thing I want to talk about. So that is kind of a big deal this year. Jupiter is in Pisces and will be in Pisces until May 10th. It's going to take a little dip into Aries from May 10th to October 28th, and then it's going to head back into Pisces October 28th to December 20th. So Jupiter in Pisces right now is in your 4th house of home and family. So this is, I always say Jupiter is amazing no matter where he goes, because he is so lucky and he brings good fortune. But Jupiter is the planet of expansion for those who are not familiar. He brings, ease to the area that he's touring. So things might just come easier. We might have more luck. We expand, we grow. And we generally just feel happier and more aligned in that area. So for you, it's in the 4th house. The 4th house is home, family, property, real estate, domestic matters. It could be your parents, specifically the mother, your childhood psychology, your emotions. It's the part of the chart that's, hidden, that we don't show everyone. It's our roots, our ancestry, our lineage. Ultimately, it's our foundation. So Jupiter here, some stories, I know many people with Jupiter in the 4th, their family grew. So whether that's you're getting pregnant, your partner's getting pregnant, someone else in the family brings in a new child, it could be adoption, it doesn't have to be via pregnancy, but your family grows. It could be that someone gets married and that's why your family grows. I've seen people buy homes when Jupiter was in the 4th. I've seen people buy larger homes when Jupiter was in the 4th, and it was quite an easy process. For some, you could buy your second home. If you're a real estate agent, this is going to be an amazing time for you. And basically all domestic matters are just easier, I want to say. Now, for some people, because Jupiter does expand, if there are some issues here, Jupiter will expand them to the point where you realize it's a problem so you can resolve them. So I do know, for me personally, when Jupiter was in my 4th, not only did I move into a larger home, and it was quite an easy process, but some emotional childhood issues came up to my consciousness quite boldly, and I could not ignore them any longer. But over that time, I was able to process them and ultimately, integrate them into me and release them. So it could be something like that as well. If there's disruptions in the family, if you've been estranged from family, this is when healing could occur. If you've been separated from your family, I know that, with COVID, a lot of people have been separated, so this could be a wonderful time to reconnect. So that's Jupiter in Pisces for you in your 4th. Then it's going to dip out and head into Aries from May 10th to October 28th. And that's in your 5th house. So really, really fun house. The 5th house is, romance, love, pleasure, joy, fertility, creativity, children, childlike behavior, like our inner child. Self-expression, dramas in here, so like for actors and actresses, hobbies and your talents are in here. And also this is a very it's a gambling house, so like speculation is in here as well. So Jupiter here might see some expansion here as well. So similar to Jupiter in the 4th, you could get pregnant with Jupiter in the 4th or the 5th. With the 5th, I would say it would be you or your partner that would be getting pregnant. So if you've had trouble getting pregnant, you might just do that around this time. You're just going to kind of be more fun. You're going to be focused on pleasure and joy. You're going to be, embracing your inner child more. You might realize that you can turn a hobby into a business and start working on that. You might just realize that you have a talent and you just become really creative. If you are a creative person, you might see a lot of growth, whether it's because you're earning a living off of this or just you're just enjoying doing your craft more. If you do have children, this could be a really positive time in their life. So if you're like an older adult and your children are grown, there could be luck through your children. If you have young children, things just seem to go well. It's a really nice time for that. For actors and actresses, you might get that gig. Gambling and speculation are here. So, it's okay to do that. You might just be on a lucky streak, but just be careful to not overdo it, because that is the risk with Jupiter. He can just go too fast, too hard, too big, and lead to some unpleasant consequences. So, don't bet everything you own, and just be mindful that you're not going overboard when it comes to love and romance. I don't know if I mentioned sex is in here too, so just be careful. There could be consequences if you're overdoing it in that department as well. Overall, it's just a really fun transit. So your job is to enjoy yourself and have fun. So yeah, then Jupiter will go back into Pisces and finish off the year in Pisces, and we already discussed that. The next transit I want to talk about is Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn's been here for a little bit. I think from like March 2020, Saturn was in there. We saw what that meant from a collective level, but this is in your individual chart. And for you, Saturn's been in your 3rd house. So Saturn's going to stay here until March 2023. So this is a longer transit you're going to have to be dealing with. So Saturn in the 3rd is, interesting. So when we have Saturn in the 2nd, the house before that, he was pressuring you with your resources and how you bring them in and how you save them. Now Saturn in the 3rd is more about your mind, your thinking, your mental output, your ideas, and how you make them work for you. So because the 3rd house is the mind, some may actually just feel more worry, like their mind just may feel more pressure, like you have too many things going on. For other people, because, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention what the 3rd house is. For those who don't know, I mentioned the lower mind, so thinking, logic, communication of all kinds. So whether that's internet, the media, verbally, all forms, texting. It's our community, so neighbors, it's siblings, but it's not just siblings, it's relatives that are not your children or your parents. So like uncles and aunts and cousins are here. It's also early education. So think of like elementary school, even secondary school, and I think it goes up to like high school. And then, so if you're like a teacher or something, this might be prominent for you. So yeah, this can manifest a few ways. Saturn restricts, wants you to be more disciplined, and sometimes can cause depression and make you wait for the things you want. So there might be those energies in any of these third house matters. So, I can't give all examples, but some might be, your community or siblings may be blocking you in some way, or they just may require more effort from you. You might have more responsibility toward your community or with your siblings or cousins or something like that. Learning may feel more cumbersome, like that you just have so much to process. You might also feel like pressure to cut out certain communication, whether that's social media or just superficial conversations with people that just kind of bore you. Like, you're not going to want to just call someone and talk about the weather. Like, you're like, if you don't, if there's not a goal to this conversation, then, or like a meaning to it, you're just going to be like, I have better things to do. So for some of you, you might actually cut out social media to focus on other things. You might also realize that your communication style needs to change. So if you are someone who has communication challenges, or I don't want to say like a poor communicator, but just, we all could do better with our communication, but this might be clear to you now. So if you work in communications, it's going to be very apparent, whether that's broadcasting, writing, blogging. I really recommend learning where your Mercury is, and I can help you with that, or any astrologer can. Learn where it is, and what are the higher expressions of that Mercury and what are the lower, and just really clean up your communication style, because everyone has a higher and a lower way of expressing themselves through what zodiac sign that Mercury is in. So yeah, if you work in marketing, blogging, broadcasting, writing, etc., you're gonna be busier with work, I would say, and you're just gonna take it more serious. So that's going to be really good, because it's going to help you produce long-term outcomes, and that's what Saturn wants. He wants you to produce something that's going to last. So in terms of any of these topics we just talked about, I will say the third house also talks about our transportation. So typically we think of our vehicle, but it doesn't have to be a car. It could be a bike. It could be a wheelchair. It could be, a plane, a boat. So most people have cars. So there might be some challenges with that. So just make sure you're getting your tune-ups and all that. Same with your bike and all that. Just make sure all those things are, up to date. The next transit I want to talk about is a very short one, but I thought it was important to mention because it's Mars in Aquarius from March 7th to April 14th, and it's also in your third house. So I do recommend people marking this on their calendar, because there's going to be a concentrated energy in your third house. Now, Saturn's already there, and Saturn is a malefic, right? He's not an easy planet, and Mars is also considered a malefic. So we have two malefic planets that can be a little difficult at times in one house. So I feel like this was something that I needed to share, just because it could help people utilize this energy better and just not burn any bridges or make it worse than it needs to be. So there will be a concentration in work matters if you work in communication areas like the ones I just mentioned. There may be more focus on devices and technology. Mars can be very stimulating and convincing. So if you're in sales, this could be a really good time that you're, making more sales. You might be more persuasive in terms of, convincing people of whatever you need to convince them in, whether you write articles or blogs, or you're in marketing. But Mars is also impatient. He is all about conflict, war, aggression. So just be careful that you're not coming off overly aggressive or impatient, or like that impatience is being projected onto other people. The same goes for community members, neighbors, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles. There could be more action in these areas, like maybe there's a family get-together, or maybe you work with your siblings, but there's also more potential for conflict and argument. So if you know this going in, you can utilize the energy better. Again, the third house rules mobilization, so very careful while driving, biking, etc., because Mars also rules metal and cutting, so accidents are more likely. Either way, I'm hoping that this is like a really good motivating energy, and you can use it in communication fields, or in your work, or something like that, or if you're a teacher and you teach elementary school, that you'll just feel just more ambitious in general. But if it is difficult, just know that it's not going to last for a very long time, and to channel that Mars energy. So because the third house is so much about communication, journaling. I'm a fan of audio journaling, where you literally just record on your phone to just get it out. I mean, therapy is never a bad idea. It doesn't matter what house we're talking about, just to move that energy. And Mars is very active, so make sure that you're getting exercise. Like if especially if you work at home and you sit a lot, this is going to make you more agitated with Mars here. So make sure that you're upping your exercise around this time. The next energy I want to talk about is Uranus going direct in Taurus January 18th, and this is in your 6th house of health and work and daily routine. So the Uranus is all about, liberating us. Uranus wants freedom, but he's kind of a wild card in the sense that we don't know, is he going to make beautiful breakthroughs or is he going to cause chaos? We just really don't know. It's kind of like a tornado coming in. You just don't know how it's going to hit. So the 6th house is all about our health, our fitness, our exercise, our diet, our supplements, practitioners, healers like that. It's the systems we use to, have our daily routines, any type of organization. It's how we're of service. It's employees if we hire them. It's our, the people we work with. It's our pets. Pretty big house, but the big topics when I look at this house are health habits and work and daily routine. So you may want to break free from limiting routines, work habits, lifestyle habits. If you're not in the right job, it's going to start to feel like you can't stay put anymore. So you may seek out a totally different type of work, and as a result have a totally different daily routine. The same goes with health. So you might seek out alternative healers or begin a very unusual way of tending to your health. So eating and exercising. And unusual is unusual to you, right? So it doesn't mean it'll be unusual to someone else, but to you it would be. You might shock some people when it comes to your work life, your habits, and your diet and exercise routine. Like, maybe you're a vegan and you randomly decide to eat meat. It could be something like that. You could be someone who never exercises and just randomly start getting into it and, get into CrossFit or something crazy and become really jacked. It could be anything. If difficult aspects are present in your chart, there could be, more conflicts and just sudden changes at work and maybe a sudden illness or a flare-up of an old illness. So just keep that in mind. If you're being too rigid in any of these areas too, just expect a shake up. Like if you're someone who eats like you count your macros every day, or you eat, the exact same breakfast every morning, or you go to the gym and do the exact same thing, like Uranus is going to shake that up. And it might be through an illness or through, a crazy work upheaval. So you're forced to change your habit, right? So just keep that in mind. Because this is, Uranus is also very, innovative and unusual, and rules like astrology and stuff, you might suddenly take a really big interest in alternative healing methods. So maybe using astrology, like medical astrology, for example, or just some alternative form of healing. There's just going to be some type of innovative way that you're doing this, and it's going to be kind of ahead of the game. It's going to be something that not maybe everyone's doing. It could be that your job requires a lot of high-tech things like new devices and things like that. I think I mentioned if it's negatively aspected, there could be sudden illness or accidents even at work, or accidents that make you have to rest at home, or you pull your back or something. But it can also be nervousness, since the 6th house is a Virgo house, so your nervous system might be a little hijacked at this time. So just be mindful of that, and know that you're going to have an outlet for that energy so it doesn't get pent up. Overall, Uranus wants to liberate you from anything limiting and restricting when it comes to your daily habits, your routines, and your work life. The last and final transit I want to talk about are the eclipses. And the eclipses this year are transiting, so the North Node The North Node is transiting Taurus and the South Node is transiting Scorpio. And for you, Sagittarius, this is the North Node in the 6th house and the South Node in the 12th house. I have put the dates on the screen. So around this time, this energy is going to be more apparent and more concentrated. However, this is like going on for, the next year. So again, we have a focus on your 6th house, so all the stuff we just talked about, because not only do we have Uranus here, but we have the North Node. The North Node is our karmic destiny. It's all about beginnings and endings, and sometimes quite shockingly. So it's similar to Uranus in that sense, and they both can be out of the blue, right? So your daily routine, your work, your habits, your health, your diet, one or all of these things are going to go under significant changes. There's going to be a lot of new beginnings and endings when it comes to these things. So if you've been outgrowing your work but resisting it, you won't be able to anymore. You're going to feel compelled, or you'll just be forced to seek out something new, like your job lays you off, or the company shuts down, something like that, or it just gets to the point where you just break free on your own. Because the South Node is in the 12th house, you may have issues seeing the details. The 12th house is all about the unseen world. It's formless, and the 6th house is very tangible. It's in the physical realm. So that might be more of a challenge to you. You're being forced to really focus on the physical a bit more. If you were someone who was in solitude, or you are someone who just likes it, you're going to be asked to kind of get out of that and stop focusing so much on self and attend your daily habits, exercise, all physical matters, being of service. And it's not just being of service to others, it's also of being service to yourself in terms of your health, right? So if there are any sudden health issues, they are happening for you, not to you, and they're going to help you reassess and change your daily habit routines. And this isn't going to be everyone, of course. It might be that you just drastically decide to change your health, diet, and exercise in some way. Don't ignore any somatic issues. They are definitely manifestations of this imbalance, like the internal going on. And for some, if an illness occurs or it's very sudden, this is going to be a very karmic thing. Like this is coming from a past life, and you're here to kind of clear that karma. You're basically being asked to really learn, what does it take to take care of physical matters? What does it take to, look after my physical body and my health? And you're realizing that those small details do matter, in terms of your overall quality of life. So you might feel scattered at first, but you will find your way. Other things that might come up, I forgot to mention, are like things with your pets, and if you hire employees, like you might be realizing that you need to change up how you manage, your business or something. So overall, the small details do contribute to that bigger picture, and that's kind of the focus of the year. So that's all I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this was clear. I am recording this on Mercury retrograde, so I apologize if I fumbled. If you resonated with any of these themes that I talked about, please comment. I would love to hear about how it's impacting you, if you're comfortable sharing. If there's something going on that's related to one of these transits that I forgot to mention, please share it. I hope to make this a learning platform. And if you liked, please, like, share, subscribe, and just stay tuned for some more videos.